I got my game shoes on. I'm gonna get up and go do my job. I won't stop until I reach the top, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. And if you push me down, I'm gonna get up and then shake your ground. It's too late to stop me now, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Yeah, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. It's showtime. Now keep your eyes on the prize. No matter what, I'll put up a good fight. Do what I gotta do to survive, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. Be confident, 'cause this moment may never come again. You better give 110%, 'cause winning's all I do. Ooh, oh, I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Come on, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Yeah, it's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Oh, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Come on. Hey. Everybody, come on. It's showtime. Yeah. Yeah. I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Come on, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Yeah, it's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Oh, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before.
I could lose you like some loose change. Usually I like to kick it through the Luke Kane. Every night living life out of suitcase. Too many voices in my head to hear what you saying. That's why I'm swimming in this liquor like a pool day. That's why I'm flying out to Vegas on a Tuesday. Yeah, I might catch a couple L's, but I'm cool, J. You never know, just like the shoes say. A new wave, I am on, wonder where my mind is gone. Every time I write a song, I feel like I right or wrong. I keep running right in place, might as well enjoy the chase. Wish I knew back then what I know right now. So fresh, but I guess how I wanna.
Good evening, race fans. My name is David Westergreen, and welcome to ERSCA from Bristol. Along with me tonight are Robert Hill and Chris Wright for the final time this season. the Belly Up Sports TV broadcast, featuring the Elite Racing Network guys. Chris, it's been a bit of a wild season so far. Been great to have you along, but give us your thoughts as we line this one up for Bristol before we give you the starting lineups.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. It's kind of been like that throwback to the TNT Summer Series here. Me and Robert came on board with you, David, and worked through this middle stretch of races before they take it back over. It's been a blast to watch these races, a blast to call these races. I want to give a thank you to Johnny Thomas, everybody at Belly Up Sports, everybody here at ERSCA. It's been great to work with these boys again over here, and maybe if we get to come back next season, we'll have a few surprises. Maybe even one tonight. We'll see. We'll see if it pans out for a surprise tonight. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to running Bristol here. 4 sets of tires in the pits. It's a little bit of a smaller field than we've had the last couple of weeks, so maybe that'll lead to a little bit of a cleaner race. We'll see how it works out at Bristol. I've not seen these Gen 4 cars, at a track like this yet, so I'm very excited to see what happens out here. But the slightest contact will wreck somebody, so we'll see if somebody attempts a bump and it turns into a little bit more than that.
Absolutely. So a quick look here at the starting grid before we set off for the pace laps and then the start of this race tonight, the Bristol 200. Scott Crump on the pole once again. I believe that's his second pole this season. Might even be his third pole. Ryan Blanchard will be outside front row. He made his ERSCA debut last week. Bounced off of some people, but wound up with a good finish. Starting third will be Andy Trupiano. Nick Massey starts fourth. Josh Adams will start fifth in his second start of the season. Cameron Rich starts sixth. Tate Lytle will start 7th, last week's winner. 8th will be Dylan Thomas. 9th will be Ryan Gavel. And 10th will be Mike Christopher, making a return to the series. Ryan Lutz, 2021 ERSCA champion, will start in 11th. And Austin Beers will start 12th. That is the points leader. Take a look at some of the rest of these names here. Nick Indelicato, second in points. He'll start 19th. Bossman Johnny Thomas will start 21st. Brian Narducci is back from suspension. He'll start 20th. And down the rest of the leaderboard for the rest of those names. So, Chris, we didn't do this last week. Who's your pick for tonight?
My pick for tonight?
Yep.
Man, the pace car is going to be tough to beat tonight, is what I'm hearing. But when it comes to short tracks, I'm going to take Scott Crump. I know it's the pole sitter, but Scott's really, really good at short tracks and saving tires, so I'll take Scott.
Give me Ryan Lutz tonight. That'll be my pick. 36 car. Pace car is off. Green flag is out. Scott Crump does not get a good start. It's Ryan Blanchard on the top in the 09 that gets the good jump. And with this progressive banking, I think that outside line is going to be maybe where you want to go. Just depends. Here's Crump kind of edges ahead here down the back straightaway.
Scott Crump gets clear. Front 3 looks like they get single file here after the first lap.
Crump
first side-by-side battle in fourth.
Crump jumps to that middle lane. That seems to be the kind of preferred groove in 1 and 2, maybe even in 3 and 4. Crump went up high again, and they've made it 2 laps at Bristol. That's hopefully not the most we'll see tonight.
Looks like Nick Massey's already working the very top. The
Josh
7
Adams.
car is really sliding backwards here after the start, it looks like.
Adams took
Track
over.
on the bottom.
That's Bob Trupiano as well as Trupiano back to 7th. I think it's going to happen so fast here at Bristol, it's going to be hard to keep up. Massey pressuring Blanchard for that second position. Back there, Mike Christopher, Ryan Gavel side by side, just at 10th place, 9th place. Right around points leader Austin Beers and Ryan Lutz as well. Tate Lytle trying to get up there as well as Matthew Bayuk. Oh,
we got
Mike
a
Christopher
spinner.
around. That'll be caution number 1.
Slight contact with the inside wall. Not sure how bad it is. Oh, I think he's going to be all right. That's not very bad.
No, lots of track position is going to be much more impactful, I think, than the damage on that 82 car. Looks like, I think it's off the next corner, but it looks like he comes up, bounces off of the door of Ryan Lutz, and right there, and that's all it is. All it takes with these high horsepower Gen 4 cars. There we go. So they finally catch up to the pace car, and when we get a moment to breathe here. 26 cars in this field. Christopher drops all the way back to 26th among those. Resetting the point standings for you. Beers, we said, was leading over Indelicato and Matthew Bayuk. Guys who you're going to want to watch out for on the bubble are Seth Rawls sitting in 10th in points, Gavin Hibbs 9th in points. The incidents leader for the most starts this season is still James Heater and Gavin Hibbs. Those would be the two guys who want to avoid contact tonight. That's going to be difficult, I think, given that it's Bristol. I don't even know if Heater's actually here tonight. Yeah, no, never mind on Heater. It'll be Gavin Hibbs trying to avoid getting bounced off of and spun this evening in the pitch black number 9. Biggest mover so far is points leader Austin Beers. He's up to 8th from 12th. He was our race winner last week.
One thing that I just noticed there from the start of the race, if you were on that inside line and you did not get up there in front of somebody, you went backwards. We saw the 7. He started, I think, 3rd, and he fell back to 6th real quick and in a hurry before he was able to get in line.
On the service here, in real life Bristol, they lay down the tack on the bottom of the racetrack and allow those guys to kind of run both lanes. And in old Bristol, the bottom was the dominant groove, but with this progressive banking and the lack of treatment on the bottom, that high horsepower, the more you can keep it wound up top, I think that's going to be the preferred groove all night tonight. I think guys are going to be up top. If you're going to the bottom, you're going to be trying to put a slide job on them.
Yeah, and we've got a visitor here in the booth, part of Belly Up Sports. We got Rattlesnake, one of the hosts of Chairgating. How you doing, Rattlesnake?
What up, what up? Am I live? Am I in here?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
All right. Going good. I just started watching, so I've been busy doing dishes. Happy Father's Day,
Gotcha. We're about to go back to green flag racing here. Scott Crump's the leader. You got anything for us here, Rattlesnake? Any predictions tonight with this Bristol race?
Yeah, I'm thinking Massey's going to take it.
Nick Massey, there you go. We didn't pick him.
We sure didn't.
That was y'all's mistake.
That's two-time champion Nick Massey, 2020 and 2022. Cameron Ridge side by side with Ryan Blanchard for 2nd. Randy Trupiano got that top lane. He's trying to take back some of those positions he lost on the start. He's outside of Josh Adams there for 5th.
Still side by side at 2nd. Made the inside work pretty good for a couple corners there, longer than I thought. Cameron Rich is going to look under trying to take the lead. Cannot quite get it done.
It's tough to make passes on that inside lane, but the inside is going to be the lane that saves the tires the most, I think, because you won't be riding up the track with that right front tire. You'll be able to roll through the center a little bit better, but you won't be able to have that drive off the corner that you're going to need to make and defend passes. So, I think these guys running up top like Austin Beers, they might have worse tires in the long run, but if we get a lot of cautions, tires are not going to matter.
And it is Bristol, so 20 cautions I don't think would surprise anyone.
It'd be more surprising if we could get a green flag run here, but these guys have been pretty well behaved on this run so far. Ryan Lutz and Josh Adams bounce off each other. Lutz is in the fence. They keep it steady. Everything's good. And now Lutz is going to get spun by Dylan Thomas. And 360 keeps it going. All right. That was about as clean as you can do it right there, though. I'm sure Ryan Lutz is not going to be too happy with Dylan Thomas.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is where it all started. They got together. Josh is going to slide right up in front of Lutz, and Lutz is going to cut him a break.
Yep. I think Lutz will maybe rethink the break giving next time. All right, Rattlesnake, we got you in here. We figured another caution was going to come in. You want to give us a little promo for your podcast there that you're working on?
Yeah. Everybody should go check out the Chairgating podcast. It's at Chairgating, Instagram, Twitter, all the places you'll find it. It is probably the worst NASCAR podcast you'll ever listen to, so everybody check it out.
The worst? I don't know about that. I think you and Dakota put on a pretty good show over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad, but I guess there's some other pretty bad ones, like Stacking Pennies might be worse, but, we're up there. By the way, I'm missing the 69 out there. What's going on?
Well, you see, the 69 is no longer a driver. He's up here part-time in the booth this season.
I missed the 69 car. That's all I'm going to say.
You got to get him back in the boot. You got to put the Chairgating on the car there, and he'll be back out there.
Okay, that sounds like a deal.
So you going to any races here coming up, Rattlesnake?
That's a great question. That's a very good question. Yeah, we've both been busy. We've both been very busy, but probably speaking of Bristol, probably gonna make it to Bristol again. Maybe Talladega, Atlanta, Darlington. You know, the southern races like we always do.
So no Chicago street course?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless you're gonna sponsor me.
So I'm curious here. You know, you're a podcast. It's a great listen. Everybody should go check it out and check out all of Belly Up Sports podcast. But what is your opinion on the street race coming up here, and what do you think we're going to see?
A lot of garbage. If you like turning on the television and watching garbage, then you should probably check out NASCAR's Chicago Street Race.
I'm gonna try to be there. I live in near Chicago.
NASCAR wanted. So this is what they built the cars for. I think maybe it will run well. It is not piquing my interest. But if you're in the Chicago area, I mean, why not?
Oh yeah, well, we're gonna try to give it a go. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be one and done. I'm not particularly thrilled with the next gen car, and you'll note that's why we're calling this Gen 4 style car in iRacing instead of running that next gen car. So
next caution, we'll ask you about what you think about the next gen car.
yeah.
Oh, I have opinions.
Great restart by Scott Crump. Cameron Rich takes second away. Nick Massey's going to fight Blanchard for third down the back. They're going to try to get wrecked, and Austin Beers is going to go around. That's the second one Dylan Thomas has run into. Beers and Thomas crashing. I think they're the only ones involved.
Bayuk is spun over here off of 4.
Oh, Matthew Bayuk's going to also be collected in this one, but that's points leader. That's a big impact there. Is Austin Beers that they tried to check up, and it just kind of accordioned back to take up Dylan Thomas once again. It was contact coming off of turn 2 here between Blanchard and Massey that got all this started. Right there. Massey has to check up for Blanchard, and Beers checks up for Massey, but Dylan Thomas is not aware of all that situation going on a couple of rows in front of him, and he gets collected, and then, Bayuk drives right in the door of the 0-3 car.
Bayuk did escape without getting hit down there, though, so that's a good thing. Lost his track position, but 4 new tires, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think Bayuk will be okay. He's one of our top 10 guys. So while we got Rattlesnake in here, let's go back to our little talk, because we know this race is going to be pretty caution filled. And I think maybe we have the same opinion on that in the next gen car here, but what don't you like about it?
Well, I mean, I'm a NASCAR fan, so there's a lot I don't like about it. It was built to be on road courses, I think, and that's what NASCAR seems to be interested in, and that's the route they're going. I like short tracks, so the Cars Tour right now is putting on a great show. If you are interested in just good stock car racing, short track racing, I've been getting a lot more into that stuff just because, unfortunately, it's going down a route that I'm just not a fan of.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't like. I think road course would be fine if they give him more horsepower, but the car is so stuck to the track that it doesn't matter what they do.
Exactly. Road course racing used to be better, in my opinion, because the cars were difficult to drive.
Right. Even
That's
if they
the thing
were
with
good to
short
drive.
tracks now too. You know, they're easy
yeah.
to drive everywhere. Just throw it down a gear. You got 5 of them now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look
how
bad North Wilkesboro was. Come on.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching that race specifically because it was North Wilkesboro, but that did not mean that the car performed well. Cameron Rich is going for the race lead here on Scott Crump, so we get back under green.
I think he's going to get it. He's got that preferred line.
Yep. Cameron Rich up top running that new Bristol line. Scott Crump trying out the old Bristol line. New ways prevail. Cameron Rich, the new race leader. Lap 25. Takes from the pole sitter.
Those are some pretty paint schemes running up front.
They are. Yeah, Cameron Rich is done. I think his paint's done by Drew Eisenman, who runs the 77 car back there.
Oh, we got a spinner back here.
We're going to have another caution. Yep. Oh, there it is in the inside wall. Is it Goody? No, it's Vincent Isabella. What happened to Vince?
I think what I'm noticing is guys that have to lift off a 2 to cut somebody a break, that third car in line is not able to get checked up.
And the guy who spun Vincent out there is the guy who's come back from suspension recently, so. Man, yeah, Vincent he saw the battle unfolding in front of him, tried to give those guys a little bit of room coming off a 2, I think, and just got run over. I think Lytle has disconnected from the server.
Yeah, I think he just pulled over and quit. No wrecks, no damage for that car. Just maybe one too many cautions for Tate to stick around.
Bristol, I don't know what you were expecting. And I guess, as we kind of roll back to that, the next gen car, you think back to that Bristol race we saw last year that Chris Buescher won, right? And my bigger problem even with that is that NASCAR's taken away a Bristol race with the dirt race, and I don't like that at all either.
Don't get me started.
Yeah,
I almost feel like we needed Dakota to come up here too. Get a full chairgating podcast going on.
Yeah, basically we can make this just the podcast section here of the ERSCA broadcast, but that race, you think back to it, it was green for a long time because these guys just did not have any difficulty driving those cars. They were stuck to the bottom or the top wherever they ran, and it ended up being like a pretty entertaining race because the parts of the cars kept breaking as opposed to the actual racing on the track, and that's a big problem in my mind.
I will say one positive is they do look cool.
Yeah.
They look cool and they sound cool. I'll give them that.
If they can find a way to give them more horsepower, I think we'll be in a good place. But there's just got to be some better decision making down there. So
yep, Goodyear
hopefully
has
they
work
can
to do as well.
Yeah. Re-racking this field here for you as we cut back to the race at hand. Cameron Rich about to take the green flag. Scott Crump second. Ryan Blanchard third, Nick Massey fourth, Josh Adams fifth. They're down in 1, and Cameron Rich has the lead on the restart.
Another guy we didn't pick who is finding his way to the front here as well, Ryan Gavel, moving up, trying to pass Josh Adams.
Gavel's a pretty good short track racer. Nick Indelicato's up to 8th from 19th starting spot there. So second in points, trying to take advantage of Austin Beers' early woes. I'm sure these battles back here are raging on as Bristol with that 2 lanes on this progressive banking, allowing for some, pretty consistent side-by-side action.
Yeah, and Dylan Thomas, his car looks like it's already ran 200 laps at Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
We still got about 170 to go, so.
Can't be very comfortable for the driver of the 0-3 right here. A little bunch of rear end damage. Can't be good when you're powering down, 850, 900 horsepower down these short straightaways. Dylan's a dirt racer, though. He can drive it sideways.
Right now, he's stuck in a battle for about, 11, 12?
Yeah. Back up front, Scott Crump's going after Cameron Rich once again. He's utilizing the middle lane while Cameron runs that true wall. Not working for Scott so far, but maybe he can find a way to get around Cameron Rich. We can talk about Scott Crump's. Maybe it's miserable luck, maybe it's him putting himself in some bad positions, but either way, he has been kind of involved in all of the chaos that we've seen over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I want to say it's a little bit of both. A little bit of his pit calls, decision making there in mid-race, and then you put yourself in a spot to be in the middle of all the chaos.
Right. Certainly not all of it is warranted. We've seen him get wrecked a couple of times outright by people, and but we have seen him put on some really good shows, especially with Cameron Rich. These guys have raced each other really respectfully this season, and when it's been just them, we've seen a lot of really good hard racing, and we're seeing it again tonight.
Looks like Scott's going to try to take the bottom side here.
Nick Massey's just chilling right now in third place, running his lane right on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to save his stuff. And those three and Ryan Blanchard have pulled away from Andy Tripiano by about half a second to a second, which at Bristol, that's a pretty big margin. Almost a full straightaway there. So these 4 are kind of showing their hand early in this race that these are kind of the guys that can really get out there and run some good laps.
Yeah, and I think since Rattlesnake picked Nick here, if Nick does go on to win this race, I think he's got to run some chairgate logos on that car the rest of the season.
I agree. I think that sounds like a deal.
Got Seth Rawls designs on there. Wonder if there's a sponsorship deal in place, but
Oh, Gavel, he's going to save it.
Barely. He and Josh Adams have been fighting side by side, kind of almost trapped behind Andy Trupiano. Nick Indelicato is going to try to take advantage, as is Ryan Barbieri.
I'm gonna tell you, Gavel drove across the apron on the entry to 1 last time. I don't know how he saved that race car.
Mike Christopher, who was one of the victims of an early spin, he's already back up in 11th and fighting Narducci for 10th, just behind this battle.
One benefit for Mike here is he might have gotten fresh tires. He might have a little bit newer tires, and I know we didn't have a whole lot of green flag racing, but new tires at Bristol mean the world.
No. Especially, I'm sure he did, given that he spun out, flat spotted those things.
One car really struggling, and we talked about him earlier. Dylan Thomas is just free falling right now.
Damage on that car not helping Dylan Thomas, and he's trying to hold his own on the outside, but he can't get it done. He can't do what Cameron Rich has been able to do up here, which is power off the corner. That car seems to be very unstable, and he is all the way at the back of the field. Another car back there that's in trouble now is Austin Beers. He and Dylan Thomas involved with the same wreck, and Beers, the points leader, he's going to be hoping for a very crazy night.
3 leaders running 3 different lines.
Crump has gotten to the quarter panel of Cameron Rich just about every lap, and has not been able
Mike
to
Christopher's
do
wrecking
anything
on the front stretch with Ryan Gavel.
Oh,
Everybody straight.
looks like a bit of a quick loop here. We'll take a look and see what happened. Oh, Gavel came off the wall there and got into Christopher, who went sideways. Barbieri straightened him back out. Bonk. Perfect.
Well, I think it's time to discuss a pit stop. Maybe I think we'll see some guys pit here.
I wouldn't ever condone leaving my track position if I'm in the top 5. Now, if you are, Ryan Gavel, right, who just got loose off the corner, came down and bounced off of somebody, maybe you entertain it from 10th place, but I could not do it if I was racing this race and I'm running in the top 5. Couldn't possibly do it. If I'm way in the back, I absolutely come down.
Well, there it is. Scott Crump is coming. Cameron Rich is not.
A divided pit strategy.
Ooh,
Rich,
I like the pitters here.
With this many people coming down pit road, it does put things into the hands of the cars coming down pit road. If there were half the field staying out here, I would say, that you don't want to get back and involved in all the craziness. But because Scott Crump is going to be maybe 5th on the restart here, he should be fine. With fresh tires, he should be able to blow around Cameron Rich, Massey, Trupiano, and all those guys.
I'm not sure about your pick here, Rattlesnake.
You gotta have faith. Chris. Do you miss the racing, or do you prefer being in the booth?
I like the racing. I was skeptical about this season of ERSCA. As you know, ERSCA went away for a little while. Then they came back with this Gen 4 car, so I figured I'd come over here and do some broadcast and see what it looked like, how it raced, and it looks pretty exciting. We'll see about maybe getting back on the racetrack next season, but I very much, the broadcast stuff is a lot less stressful.
Well, if you get back into the 69, the Chairgating logo will be on there for sure.
I do miss hanging out with you all the time and running the Chairgate Gallery.
I know, right?
We had a great time. We won some big races.
Chris was a better driver for the 69 car than Christian Eckes was.
I don't know about that. Christian's looking pretty good right now. He's won some truck races.
Yeah, he's kind of blown up since then, huh?
Yep. He's too good to talk to me now. You still keep in contact?
A little bit here and there, but not like we used to.
I forgot about that until you just said that. It was fun getting to work with him and kind of help crew chief Eckes and help him with some of the ins and outs of the sim. It's really close to real life in some ways, but in other ways it's way off. And what you just said here about me being better on the sim, that proved to be true, but I think Christian's way better in the real life stuff than I
We wouldn't know. We wouldn't know. We gave him the chance. I think it's only fair that he gives you a chance to drive his cars, his trucks, whatever he's got now.
He's in the 19 truck there for the, I think it's Craftsman Truck Series now, so got that back.
Yep.
But
Yep.
re-racking it. Scott Crump, Ryan Blanchard, the first 2 cars on 4 fresh tires. They'll be starting 5th and 6th. Cameron Rich and Nick Massey are the front row. Green flag is back out. See how aggressive these guys on tires are with these guys on older tires.
Well, the 7 got up to the top, so the 3 old tires here, are lined up. The 82 is also up top there with his.
Oh, they're wrecking. Ryan Gavel. Barbieri's going to be in. This is going to be a big wreck.
Oh, we're wrecking on the front stretch here as well. Bunch of cars around on the front stretch after the yellow. Christopher.
Huh. He's been involved in a lot of things tonight. Blanchard's wrecked. Oh, we're gonna. Okay, this one might be it. We might not be able to go back to your rattlesnake. We're gonna have to break this one down. We got. I see 3 cars coming around here. So Gavel got. I think he got bumped. He might have got bumped, or he might have got loose on entry here. Yeah, got loose on entry. He's gonna get hit by Barbieri there. Or no, that's Gavin Hibbs. And Johnny Thomas barely misses him, but then they wadded him up on the front straightaway.
Yeah, I think Mike Christopher is going to get into the back of the 7.
Okay, let's see. This is turn 3, so Gavel's getting loose behind these guys here. Lutz is alpha. Yeah, Christopher just runs over Trupiano, and that's a tire difference right there. He's typed sorry Andy in the chat. He didn't mean to do that, I think, and that's gonna wad up in Delicato. But there's Barbieri. I saw him wrecking in the other one too, and Nick and Delicato second in points. This isn't what he needs. Looks like Seth Rawls might have gotten a little damage. I think everyone else is going to wind up okay in this.
It's not every week, though, you see him wreck under yellow.
That was pretty crazy.
I almost wonder if the 7 checked up because they saw the yellow. The 82 wasn't quite checking up as hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might actually explain things. Is that, looking back at it, it looks like they happened almost simultaneously. I think that's just a tire differential coming off the corner there, but I'm trying to see what kind of damage we're looking at for Trupiano and these guys. I think Indelicato's going to get away with this. He didn't hit a wall. Barbieri might get away with it too. I don't think either of them actually hit anything very hard.
Poor Mike has found himself in 3-4 crashes already tonight.
He's been spun out in 2 of them. Spun somebody out in the other one. I think he and Dylan Thomas have been around in just about everything there. But he's going to restart 4th, I think, right here.
Yeah, and Crump on his new tires is going to restart 3rd.
Yep.
We'll see how this works out. I think Crump's probably going to make quick work of these front 2. But there's a chance Rich and Massey, they might be able to stay in the top 5 or 10 and pit in 25 or 30 laps and give themselves a tire advantage later.
Yep. 6th caution of the race so far, so already it's been a bit of an adventure. We had one decently long green flag run, but yeah, I mean, you have to expect more cautions are going to be coming, and Scott Crump's going to get the lead here, I think, but eventually Rich and Massey will be able to pit, divide this race up into 2, and be on the fresher tires coming through the field. And the risk there, of course, is that you get involved in all the carnage, but the benefit is that they'll have the much fresher rubber if they do get up to Scott Crump once he does take this lead.
Well, if I'm one of the guys that stayed out, I'm feeling a lot better about it now than I was a little bit ago, because that wreck happened right behind him. So if they would have pitted, they might have been caught up in that.
Mm-hmm. Only Crump got out of it. Blanchard has damage. Christopher has damage. Here we go.
Is his last name actually Beers, by the way?
Yes, it is. He runs in the modified cars as well, for what it's worth for NASCAR. Green flag is out. Cameron Rich gets away. Christopher's going to have the advantage over Crump here, and he's going to get 2nd. Walls it down the back. Ryan Lutz is up to 3rd, and Lutz just bonked into Christopher there in turn 3, and Scott Crump's going to get spun out.
Oh, this is another week, another wreck.
I think Crump was actually a completely innocent victim there again. Because didn't Christopher spin Ryan Lutz earlier in this one? You tell me what this wreck looks like, and we'll see what this is. But I'm pretty sure, didn't Christopher spin Lutz early in the race?
I am not sure. I don't think so. I think it
Lutz?
was the 03 that got Lutz early, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they made contact that started it. Did the 82 and the 36, and Ryan Lutz hauls it into the corner right here and just gives him the bumper. Scott Crump checks up for Ryan Lutz coming down the track. Blanchard has nowhere to go. Spins him out. Now Indelicado's going to get clobbered up in one.
And this, I'm beginning to feel bad for Scott here. Another week where he's got a car that could win. He could have won just about every race this season, and every race has ended up with him backwards somewhere.
Yep, and this one definitely not Scott Crump's fault, right? He was just an innocent victim down there, and he's going to have to come down pit road again probably, and he's going to stay out, looks like, but yeah, that car is damaged beyond, I think, being able to challenge for this win. And this carnage is exactly what Austin Pierce wanted to see after getting wrecked early in this race, being pretty clearly down on power compared to the rest of the field. The 19 car, has the opportunity to go down, keep fixing that damage, making the most out of this night, and yeah, he'll be able to maybe retain the points lead with all this. It's only a 15-point advantage back to Indelicado, who we just saw get into both of the last two wrecks.
So while we've got a minute here, I'm going to ask a Rattlesnake another question here. What do you think about Josh Berry? And I mean, it's pretty much done. He's going to replace Kevin Harvick. What is your opinion on that? And do you know Dakota's opinion?
Yeah, Dakota doesn't really care. After Harvick's gone, I think he's just kind of checking out a little bit on some of these drivers. I think Josh Berry is stepping into kind of a disaster unless SHR can figure out what they're going to do. I mean, Harvick's the only one really performing on that team. That's just because he's a veteran Hall of Famer. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily the car that it used to be. I don't think he's necessarily getting the best equipment. 5 years ago, if you were a rookie going into SHR, it'd be a big deal. Now, I don't know.
Now, why do you think that is? I look at it as a place where they kind of brought along Cole Custer. I don't think that panned out.
Nope, did not pan out. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Tony Stewart. He's just not interested in NASCAR anymore. He's not doing much with the team. He's focusing on drag racing. It seems like he cares about drag racing first, dirt racing second, and then NASCAR third, just for the paycheck. That's the only thing I could think of, but I don't know behind the scenes necessarily what's actually going on.
And they've never really had a pipeline either. Their pipeline has had Riley Herbst for like 5 or 6 years now.
Yep.
Their pipeline is money. It's not talent, and we're seeing that with Cole Custer coming through and Riley Herbst trying to come through. I think
also
they had
heard rumors they might not be Ford for long.
Haley Deegan is a person that they've had some interest in, and a Ford driver. And I just, I think when you take money over talent, you're kind of hurting yourself. I think Chase Briscoe could be really good, but he needs some help.
That car's been way off this season. As the green flag's back out, Ryan Lutz is going to be the best car on fresh tires with a good jump here behind Cameron Rich, who's still on those older tires. Blanchard's also going to clear Nick Massey, I think, going into turn 1 here, or turn 3.
And Lutz going right for the lead on Cameron.
Doesn't seem to mind that car's already beaten up and been spun out. Ryan Lutz to the race lead. Cameron Rich back to second, and not for long. Here comes Ryan Blanchard for that second spot. He'll take it. Oh, Narducci got spun by Rawls. Don't know whether that one was that's a big wreck down here in turn 1. A lot of cars involved. Gavin Hibbs got a bunch of damage in this one. Landolt got plastered by Dylan Thomas. Michael Goodman's in this one. I was trying not to talk about Goody. I was hoping maybe he could sneak through one of these unscathed, but unfortunately not the case. I don't see. And Narducci just tried to come up in front of the 25 car and was not clear. Rawls spins going into 1. Looks like he's going to avoid any major damage. It was when the 98 car bounced off the inside wall, came back up in front of everybody. That caused a lot of carnage in amongst the back of this field. Oh, man. Was that Barbieri that went sliding in, or was that Gavin Hibbs? I think that was Gavin Hibbs.
Wow, that wreck was pretty vicious there.
Yeah.
I think the 50 is going to get up in the air.
Hibbs got bumped by Joe Francis, and Yeah, Johnny Thomas involved. Landol. Beers got
Dylan
some more
Thomas.
damage. Looks like, yeah. Man. Here's the second part of that wreck. Looks like Joe just didn't quite see him slowing down, and Goodman piles in, Landol piles in, Joe ends up with a bunch of damage. Gavin Hibbs was the incident leader for the full-time drivers. And that the driver who ends the season with the most incidents, they get an automatic chase berth. Hibbs, 9th in points, does not have that automatic chase berth right now, and that incident points lead starting to dwindle, I think. He's definitely picked up a bunch in this race.
We got pitters. Nick Massey's on pit road. Mike Christopher's on pit road.
I'm surprised Cameron Rich didn't come down. Yeah, Landol's going to shove Goodman into this one here. Tough. It happens fast at Bristol, but man, you got to be ready, and you got to be able to get on those brakes and prevent, extracurriculars from being involved in these wrecks. And unfortunately, 86 car was not able to do so.
I love this little driver display y'all have now.
Oh yeah, this is I believe, and Robert might be able to take care of this one. Oh, we do have Gavin Hibbs in the infield care center, but Robert, isn't this an Elite Racing display? Network, Elite Racing Network display?
Yeah, so this was set up by Dave Huckleberry, our producer over at the Elite Racing Network, set up the graphics package for us, and seems to be working well tonight. And as I just said, they're on pace for 21 cautions, guys, so yikes.
Let's bring Gavin Hibbs into the booth after taking that hard wreck, and Gavin looks a little bit chaotic out there. Tell us what happened.
I don't know what's going on tonight with these guys. Just the plan was tonight is just to stay out of trouble as best we can, but it doesn't matter if you're in the back, the front, or in the middle. You're getting ran over no matter what. So to me it's ridiculous.
Gotcha. And is your damage terminal? You heading off?
Just got the required done. Still another 6 minutes of optional, but we're gonna try and make up laps as we go, but looks like trying to make it into the chase based on incidents is over with, but who knows.
All right, well, thanks, Gavin, and good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully you can make it happen.
All right, thank you.
Tough break, obviously, for Gavin Hibbs. Mentioning the incident points, that was definitely one of his best tickets to get in, and I'm sure he's thinking about that when he's running a Bristol race, but there's just not much you can do.
There's nowhere to hide out here at the short half mile.
Ryan Lutz out to the race lead once again. Ryan Blanchard out to second. Barbieri is going to take third from Cameron Rich. Kyle Hanshaw slow on the back straightaway. I think he gathered it up and everyone's all right. Drew Eisenman going for fourth on Cameron Rich here with fresh tires. Just behind him is Vincent Isabella. And here comes Josh Adams. That's maybe fresher tires than even some of these guys up front have.
One thing I'm watching is Scott Crump has got new tires. Nick Massey's got new tires. Gavel's got newer tires. Mike Christopher. These guys are carving through back here right now.
Right, so now we have almost 3 tire strategies. You got Cameron Rich, who's on really old tires. You've got, a bunch of these guys who pitted several cautions ago around lap 50. Now you've got guys who pitted last time, like Gavel and Crump, who just split Gerald Campbell in turn 3. Those guys are, running really fast laps right now.
They nearly wrecked there with Nick Massey, Gerald Campbell.
Campbell a little bit slow. I think that 31 might have a little bit of damage, but those guys all have fresher tires than the cars they're racing with right now. So Crump's car doesn't look too bad. So here he comes, passing Cameron Rich.
I think Cameron is regretting not getting on the strategy with Nick and the other guys that stayed out with him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't come down pit road the last caution, and nothing's to say we haven't removed enough cars from this that we can actually have a green flag run, but it's not impossible, as Ryan Blanchard now challenging Ryan Lutz for the race lead. I think Lutz is going to have a problem going long runs here. The right front of that car is where all the damage is, and if that's the case, I know that car's rolling over on the right front and, creating additional wear. It's going to be really difficult for Lutz to hold this lead. as the run goes on and as he burns into those tires. No, man, Cameron's going to find himself in a world of hurt here if he can't get going.
I think he's already in that world of hurt at this point.
Yeah, man, just falling back and you know, he's kind of on pace to get lapped if this thing goes green for any reasonable amount of time.
My boy Massey's making moves though.
Yes, he is. Up to 10th. He's being patient right now, though, and I think that's something that we haven't said about anybody else tonight.
Nick's a very smart driver. He's very calculated. He's very good at saving the tires.
I know. I picked him because you could never beat him, Chris.
That's right, and we've always worked together, so I know what he's doing. He tells me what he's doing, and I just can't do it. He's one of the best out here.
3 wide. Adams trying to take the top lane around Eisenman and Barbieri. That's not going to work. He falls in line behind Ryan Barbieri, but they are racing really hard for this 3rd position. Josh Adams has the fresher tires, and I think that's what's creating his urgency right here to get past both of these guys to try to go up there and grab that track position ahead of Scott Crump, ahead of, you know, Nick Massey and these other Ryan Gavel that are on the fresher tires. So here comes Adams for 3rd. He will get it.
Nobody's running higher than Adams. I mean, he was running right at the fence in 1 and 2 last time. Now he's going to go to the bottom and make me look stupid.
Well, he's running there because all these guys have been running the bottom, right? You've seen Barbieri trying to keep it on the bottom. You see Seth Rawls cutting to the bottom right now. There's multiple grooves on this track. You can make more than one groove work, but that outside line is going to be the better line for passing 9 times out of 10 right now. Adams has run down the race leader. Scott Crump is in the same traffic that Adams just was in.
Just got to be smart. You got to be patient. The leader's right there in front of you. If you're Scott Crump, you recovered nicely.
Here comes fresh tires. Josh Adams rockets around Ryan Blanchard. That's for 2nd. He'll be in front of Ryan Lutz here momentarily as he cuts him a break going into turn 1, but he knows those tires are superior right now.
Scott Crump with a bit of a slider.
Crump now to the top of Ryan Barbieri. And Barbieri gives him the door in turn 3, but that is going to end. Lutz just gave Adams the door, and Adams is in the wall.
Adams will not take kindly to that.
Yeah, I don't. That's about right. Ryan Lutz is around. Ryan Blanchard gets caught up in something that was not his making. I don't know. Man, what are we doing here, man?
How do y'all feel about that move?
Man, I don't see. We might have missed something, right? Because it's possible they had a previous altercation in this race that we were unaware of. But Lutz came off of the corner, put Josh in the fence. I don't know what to tell you. What was that? And then, of course, Josh didn't take kindly to that. Lutz just spun Josh under caution.
Oh, man.
I don't understand. What are we doing?
Josh is flipping under caution.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness. This was full throttle. We got to get a replay on that.
Yep. Lutz and Josh under caution as well. I just don't.
I want to hear what you got to say about this, Rattlesnake.
Mm-hmm. What you
I'm
got?
at loss for words. I usually am not, but I'm glad these aren't real cars that cost real money. That's all I gotta say. I don't know what y'all's rules are or penalties, but
Ryan Lutz will not be racing next week. No.
I'm surprised Lutz is still on the server right now.
I know. I don't know. Here he is, full.
This
song.
is just full throttle under yellow.
Yeah. We got to clean some of this up. You know what I mean? Like that's not warranted. I don't believe.
This is
for
3 weeks in a row of something like this as well.
It is. You know, and look, I'm all for showing your displeasure. I think it's warranted. I think in racing you gotta earn respect, but you also have to. If you are disrespected, you have to alert someone that they have disrespected you. I think that's fair. And I think eye for an eye is a pretty reasonable thing as well. But you look at when it went down there, right? Adams lost the lead, and when was this? Oh yeah, there it is, and Johnny
And
didn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. I think Johnny just didn't react quick enough.
Right. And it's that's tough for Vince. Obviously, he's making a bit of a return, but this is not this is a track Vince is really good at. I know, but it's tough. It's just really.
I just don't understand what Lutz is doing there under yellow. You run the guy into the wall, he hits you back. You can't expect to run a guy into the wall and not get something in return.
Yeah, I don't know it's just not warranted, right? Like I was saying, eye for an eye, right? I mean, Adam's
Now, I don't know that
spun him out.
Josh could have wrecked him either. I don't know necessarily that should have happened.
Yeah. I mean, do you think turning somebody is a warranted response to getting walled a little bit? I don't know.
See, I disagree. I think Josh would have been better to get beside him and door him.
Yep. Agreed. I think that was a bit of an overreaction, but that caution move is just wild.
That was a little bit of an overreaction, but what Lutz did under yellow was
agreed.
Yeah. Crazy,
All
right?
right, boys. I'm gonna have to call it quits. It's past my bedtime.
All right, one more time before you go, Rattlesnake. Where can we find your podcast? And we know you do it live. When is it?
Yes.
Happen?
We do it live. It's Chairgating at Chairgating, like tailgating but with a chair. And check us out. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the places. Where to find.
And when is that? When do you do the live show?
We're doing another one this Thursday. It's either 7:30 or 8:30 Eastern PM.
Well, all right, Rattlesnake. Thanks for giving us some time tonight. It was great talking to you again. It's been a lot of fun working with the Belly Up guys again. And if we come back next season, we'll definitely have you out to another broadcast.
Yes, I can't wait to see the 69 back out there.
Yeah,
all right,
appreciate it, man. All right, so we also have an interview here, another one. Josh Adams is joining us from the Infield Care Center. Josh, you might have a couple of concussions, but can you take us through what happened there? We're back in the green, but I think everybody would like to know maybe some stuff we might have missed in the broadcast.
I hope you didn't miss it. I mean, we were the two leaders, but yeah, we were coming off of turn 4, and there was contact. I might not have maybe gotten put in the wall watching it back, but I ended up in the wall, passing him. I was faster. I went to his outside, and I figured maybe he'd just let me go. So I rolled up on him a time before, and then when I got beside him, there was contact, and got back to him. And these cars, they're so sensitive. You get into a rear of somebody, and they kind of just go around, and that's definitely what happened. There was a message to be sent, but it, maybe not that aggressively. But what he did on under caution is completely uncalled for.
Yeah, it was. When we were kind of trying to figure out what happened there. I mean, was that the first contact between you guys?
It was the first contact, but I mean, I think anybody that obviously has been around for a while, certain people you're racing, and you don't give certain people as many outs as you might other people. So, when
one thing you said here too was that you thought he was going to let you go. Now, you say certain people. You had to know that Lutz was not going to let you go.
Of course, but I think he might have been on 2 tires or something. I'm not sure. He was rolling the bottom really slow, and I thought he kind of just saw me coming, and then he decided to squeeze me out of turn 4. So
did you see it coming under yellow? Did you know it was about to happen?
My right front was already killed. I saw him coming in the rearview mirror, but there was no point for me to try and evade and get anybody else caught up in anything. But that's to be expected out of him. So,
do you expect to see a penalty moving forward?
Maybe. I mean, if they penalize me, I think that would be fair.
No,
but,
I'm talking a penalty for him.
I mean, of course, that happened last week, and the guy's not racing this week. So, and I don't think it was nearly that aggressive.
Now,
that hasn't done it 15 times.
Josh, I gotta ask then. I mean, you're coming in a little late, right? You've only run, I think, the last 2 races.
Yep.
What's going on that's creating this need to gun down somebody under caution here?
I don't know. I don't know if people are seeing what they see in real life, like everything on social media and things that happen on the track. And I don't know if maybe he's a Chase Elliott fan. I don't know, but
Hey, now we're not going to have any Chase Elliott slander. Let's
we
go.
don't. We're driving virtual race cars, right? You know, you can go and sign up for the next race, and you don't get costed any money. So people just don't take it as seriously as they used to.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Well, you got any shout outs up for us here before we send you off?
I'll just you guys up here. You guys do a good job, and Johnny for putting on the league and put on something that should be pretty good, but it turns into chaos and calamity. But we come on here to have fun, and it's hard to have fun when we have shenanigans.
Gotcha, man. Well, appreciate the interview, Josh, and hopefully, it's a little better moving forward. We'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Josh Adams, driver of he's 95 in the on the scoreboard, but I think 07 on the track. Kyle Hanshaw got spun. All that interview, Ryan Barbieri drove up and took the lead. Cameron Rich is now on 4 tires. He's up to 5th. Nick Massey's 2nd. He had the lead for a little bit. Scott Crump had the lead for a little bit with the damage number 8. Yeah, that's about it. And then Kyle Hanshaw got spun by Seth Rawls on the front straightaway. So Massey, Crump, Christopher are all coming down pit road here. And Cameron Rich. So Barbieri stays out. He's the only one who stays out. All right, well, let's do a commercial here while we have a chance. Lap 116 of 200. We'll throw it to you, Robert, for the commercial.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Mine hasn't reset yet. Welcome back to Bristol for the 10th caution. Now, after some very crazy chaos the last about 20 or 30 laps, Ryan Barbieri is the race leader, though he did not pit on that last caution. Joining him in that strategy are Joe Francis, Andy Trupiano, Michael Goodman, and Kyle Hanshaw. Scott Crump will be first off pit road in 6th with tires. Mike Christopher, Nick Massey, Cameron Rich following him. Those are, 4 of the guys we've seen that are pretty quick. But and we saw Drew Eisenman. We didn't really mention him. He'd been running in the top 5 really nicely. Ryan Blanchard was up there with Ryan Lutz before. He's been bounced off of a couple of times. Dylan Thomas is back up in this pack. It's going to get even more crazy here with just 80 laps to go.
It should be pretty interesting what happens here the rest of this event.
Barbieri looking on that outside line to get a big jump on Joe Francis and Michael Goodman. Waiting, and he will do it. He gets a big jump, does that 15 car, and he needs all that space he can get with those fresh tires behind him. We'll watch the progress of Crump, Massey, Blanchard, Rich, and others. Though Rich, I think, got caught up in traffic there behind Kyle Hanshaw. And it's Scott Crump with the 4 fresh tires up front. And the yellow flag's back out. And it's Seth Rawls in the fence.
And Ryan Lutz was. They have loaded up ahead of him.
Okay. And Rawls got the fence coming off of 4 and wound up bouncing off of Johnny Thomas and winding up in the fence. Tough night for Seth Rawls. He got involved in that one with Brian Narducci. I think it damaged that 25 car, made it a little more difficult to drive, and now Rawls has run across further damage and further calamity, but that will put his teammate Nick Indelicato back on the lead lap. I want to shout out, while I have a chance, Race Control Johnny Eckert, who has done some policing of the server and has been shortening these cautions so they're not quite so long. So always a shout out to Race Control for this one and having to deal with some of this because it's been a bit like the Wild Wild West thus far this season. Rawls, Beers, and Delicato, the ones coming down pit road. Barbieri, Francis, Trupiano, still ahead of the cars on tires. Also worth remembering that Scott Crump has been into the wall a couple of times in this race. Is Nick Massey? Nick Massey might be the only clean car out there. I don't think I've seen the 48 involved in too much. Trying to find another one that's been as clean as him. Maybe Cameron Rich. 17's not been involved in too much tonight. He's bounced off the fence a couple of times. Drew Eisenman's car looks pretty clean. We can hang our hat on that one. I'd say that's about it.
I just heard you
clean
jinx
cars.
Nick Massey.
Yeah. I mentioned all the clean cars we have left. There's only 4 I can find, so. Well, they're all jinxed then. We'll see if we can't get some damage on all the cars. What Tony Stewart say a few years ago? We got to go back out there, keep running until we crash at least half the field.
Yeah, I believe that was that famous Talladega interview where he said that, and they need to split the field in half and each of them go different directions.
We could do that tonight, and it would probably result in the same number of cautions.
We're going green from here. Mark it down.
Yep. Ryan Barbieri gets the jump, but now Scott Crump's 4 fresh tires are right on his back bumper. We'll see how quickly they eat him up. They were very good earlier in the night that we saw. Crump quickly closing the gap down on Ryan Barbieri, but he's got a rear view mirror full of Nick Massey's 48 car, and Massey's probably got a little more speed under the hood right now with no damage on the hood of that number 48.
Yeah, Nick Massey's one of those guys who's always really. Oh, we got contact on the front
Big
stretch.
crash,
We're gonna
yeah.
save it.
Oh, no, they're not.
Oh, they got
They're
it.
still
Michael
trying to
Goodman's a
wreck.
driver. He's a good driver down there. See him saving that thing sideways.
And Michael Goodman, Ryan Gavel bouncing off each other. Battle for the lead. Barbieri trying to hold strong on the outside lane with the old tires. We've seen what happens when new tires and old tires start battling, but Scott Crump's going to
gonna do a
slide
slider.
up in front.
I'd be careful if I was Ryan about dropping to the bottom because if Nick gets to your top, it's going to be over.
Ryan tried to cross Scott back over, but with the rubber disadvantage, it's going to be all Scott Crump now for the race lead. Massey's going to go after Ryan Barbieri for second. Not quite clear, but I think he'll get it going into turn 3 here. Yep, clear 48, P2. Francis and Trupiano have held on nicely in front of the rest of the field here. Cameron Rich is maybe the only car picking his way forward.
Yeah, Cameron's really regretting that one run where he stayed out there and was the only guy left on old tires.
That's the difference right now in this track position. Cameron's been kind of playing catch up to what Massey and Crump were doing a few turns ago on that pit strategy call. Now he's stuck battling side by side with Joe Francis. just in front of Isabella and Dylan Thomas. Gerald Campbell has entered the top 5 for the first time today. 31 car. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too banged up.
The Barbie
really heard
machine
from
there.
him.
I think the Barbie movie is about to come out too, right?
Next 2 weeks, right? 4th of July weekend. You going to see Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Indiana Jones.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. Oppenheimer looks pretty
Oh, they're
good.
going to wreck. Oh, maybe not. Joe Francis just checked up and lost like 6 spots because Lando is falling back right in front of him. They all made it. Cleaned it up there thus far. Now underneath Ryan Barbieri goes Gerald Campbell. He is going for 3rd. He's going to get there.
I think Ryan is regretting those old tires now.
Yeah. Barbieri making that play that maybe the caution will come out every 2 laps and you can kind of hold that track position because it takes a lap or 2 for them to actually catch up to you and pass you once you get that jump on the green flag run. But it has not mattered thus far. The 15 falling back. He had the speed.
A race
to
for
run
the
up
lead
there
is
with him,
on.
though, so it is. Nick Massey's using the bottom lane as he always does.
Track position so very important. If the caution comes out, you want to be the leader.
Yep. Cameron Rich battling Gerald Campbell for 2nd. They have gapped Barbieri and Vincent Isabella. Isabella's moved up to 5th despite his damage. Drew Eisenman now hunting 6th from Barbieri. So a really good night for several guys who have desperately needed it. Both from this guy who's leading the race and Scott Crump, who's just now about to lose it because Nick Massey's jumping to that top lane. Finally got a good run on him. There's Massey up to the lead.
And I know that these two have a lot of respect for each other, so.
Yep. Yeah, but good runs for guys who needed it. Crump, Gerald Campbell, Vincent Isabella, Drew Eisenman, Ryan Barbieri, all having really good runs tonight. Man, Landolt is having some real trouble.
Yeah, it might be time to pull that thing in.
He's only, he just, I think, went to the 2nd lap down, but he is so much slower than these guys that he's kind of posing a problem. You see there, it's going to cost Gerald 3rd place.
Is it, though? Gerald tried to hang tough.
Vincent and Drew are running these guys down.
Yeah, when you're that slow.
Yeah, you're just in the way. It's hard to. There's nowhere to hide.
I just heard some communication, and Gerald's asking who put the Mazda out here.
That's good. You gotta. Yeah. Oh man, just tough too. Watching him kind of fall through. There's just nowhere for him to go. Like
I think when you're that far off, I think the place to go is the garage.
Yeah, that might be the case. You'd like to just get to the bottom, try to run some normal laps, but I think that car is heavily damaged. Not allowing him to. Scott Crump is trailing Nick Massey now by half a second. Cameron Rich is a solid 2.5 seconds off. Gerald Campbell's then another.
And I'm going to tell you, boys, Ryan is really holding up a group of cars right now. They just about wrecked off of 4.
Yeah. Oh, big pack here. 2 and 3 wide. Dylan Thomas is trying to go around Barbieri. We've seen Thomas in the wall, backwards, all kinds of problems for the 0-3. He's going to get spun by Barbieri.
Just burns him.
I think Dylan saved it.
He did. Why would you not lift a little bit there? You know that guy's got to come up. That's just one of those.
We've been asking all night.
You got to have give and take. You can't just take every time.
Yeah, Gavel might have gotten a little damage there. Everyone else able to save it. And Barbieri also, being so aggressive with no tires, he's kind of the guy everyone's wanting to punt out of the way. They easily can. They don't, and then somebody slides up in front of him and he just bumps into him. So I don't know.
It's a long season. You got to have some respect for your fellow competitors.
Mm-hmm. Massey's coming up on this group right here. He is not far from getting into lap traffic. So the battle between he, Crump, and Rich could narrow down pretty quickly once he closes up on some of these guys.
Yeah, and I think at this point, if a caution comes out, everybody's going to bolt on a set of tires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the pit strategy has played its played its way out, because at this point, if you try to stay out, you've seen what happens to Barbieri, right? He's fallen all the way to 13th from the race lead. He is
And I
almost on the
believe that
same
Mazda
straightaway as
is
Nick
parking
Massey.
now.
Yeah, Landolt needs to go see how much damage he can fix, try to get that thing back up to song if he wants to keep running. We have put on a decent green flag run here. Fingers crossed, trying not to jinx it. Mike Christopher up to 5th now, going around Gerald Campbell. 82 car has been in all sorts of adventures tonight.
Yeah, Crump is about 3/4 of a second back. It's 3.5 to Cameron Rich there.
Mm-hmm. And look
Like
at
you
Cameron Rich's teammate here, Drew Eisenman. Man, we talked to him at Nashville, right? And we got a big angry interview. I'm pretty sure since then, Drew has not touched anybody and not said a foot wrong. He's kind of backed up what he said then. And here he is, clean car, running 4th, running right with his teammate Cameron Rich. He's going to go by him.
Nick Massey has caught the group of lappers here.
Drew to 3rd. Massey is now behind Trupiano, who does not have tires. Boy, this run could not have gone worse for Trupiano, Barbieri, Michael Goodman, I think. Goodman actually pitted and got tires. He might have. Or maybe not. I think he's actually already a lap down, is what happened there for poor Goody. Yeah, he's just hoping for a caution at this point. Regretting not pitting. Look at this. Barbieri just got bumped by Dylan Thomas in front of the leader. That was your race leader under the last restart. Now Barbieri going. Oh man, almost taking out Nick Massey. Now he goes a lap down.
Yeah, just way too aggressive out of Ryan right here. Like, I don't know what thought process he's having right there, but it's not a good one.
Crump's not having any easier time picking through those lap cars than Massey did. Massey able to kind of roll the bottom, keep that car under power. Crump having to do just about the same stuff here, but the issue is I think Gavin Hibbs is right in front of him on fresher tires with a fixed up car. And I think that's kind of impeding Crump's progress. He's not really able to run laps like he otherwise would want to. Dylan's right behind Goody here on the front straightaway.
And he's into the back.
Oh, he got him.
Your guy a break.
Oh, man. Same incident.
Stuff like that can be avoided.
Yeah, I think you can. Dylan's already a lap down. Goody's 2 down. Just, yeah. Seen it all night. Mike Christopher is up to 4th. I think Cameron Rich either has a problem or is that car is on older tires and is just not running as well as his contemporaries there.
Ooh, Goody's in the wall over here in 1 and 2. He's going to be okay.
Yeah. I think these guys can go all the way to the end on fuel. I think they pitted within the fuel window. Far be it from me to be thinking about the end of this race, but we have run a few green flag laps here. Everybody's in a rhythm. Massey's got a 2-second lead. Mike Christopher has gone around Drew Eisenman, so the 82 car really coming to life here. He has jumped up to 3rd. Ryan Blanchard's back up to 6th in the 09. Joe Francis up to 7th. I think he went and bolted on tires last time through. Gavel's 8th. Campbell back to 9th. Isabella back to 10th. And most of the race leaders are in lap traffic here, so.
Yeah, and it's about 2.5 seconds is the lead for Nick Massey now.
Massey really has stretched it out this run. The long green run favoring that 48 car. Something he's real good at, saving tires. He runs that bottom lane, which at Bristol, if you can run the bottom, you want to run the bottom. But you can't always. And interestingly enough, the next car he's coming up to lap will be Nick and Delicato. who got back on the lead lap last time by. He's been on pit road a bunch of times. Austin Beers is the first car 1 lap down. That's the points leader, and second in points are the last car on the lead lap, first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, Nick's about to catch another group of cars, like you mentioned, just out in front of him. Oh, wrecking!
Oh. No, it spun out. Yep, there it is. Is that Isabella?
It
Sure is. And I think that iRacing will put him a lap down. Let's take a look. Oh, man. It's like Parker Landel. Yep. Not sure Vince will be too thrilled with that. I'd keep a camera on him here. Looks like he is. Yep. Looks like Vince has let cooler heads prevail there, but he will get trapped a lap down with that. And I think everybody's going to be coming to pit road once they catch up to the pace car and get ready to line them up here.
Yeah, I think so too. Cautions breed cautions. I think whoever wins the race off pit road here wins the race. It's going to be a battle of the pit crews up here at the front. I'll be surprised if we don't get about 3 yellows between now and the end.
Oh yeah, I think this is all the makings of the run before the calm before the storm. So guys 1 lap down, they'll back it up, try to get their lap back here, and it's all going to be all about the battle off pit road here. I think Crump can probably hold Massey off if he could beat him off pit road. He does have that first pit box, that pole from that pole position, so. And I think Johnny stayed out just to lead a lap.
Johnny
He's coming down pit road this
Thomas,
time.
Austin Beers stayed out. They both came now.
Ooh, Cameron Rich. Did Cameron Rich take 2 tires? I think Cameron beat him off pit road there.
Yes, Cameron took 2.
Yeah. So 2-tire call for Cameron Rich. Definitely right sides. Scott Crump does come off second. Massey third. Christopher fourth. Eisenman fifth. It's like Blanchard 6th, Francis 7th, Gavel 8th, Gerald Campbell 9th. A bunch of guys are going to take a wave around here, and that will create some very quick lap traffic that would be, I think, present before the end of the race if we went green. Like pretty much all those guys who are on old tires have to stay out, get the wave around, and hope for a caution quickly, which they might just get. That would allow them to put tires on from the lead lap. Oh, it's putting Scott Crump ahead of Cameron Rich?
Yeah, that first pit box, Cameron was so far back, 2 tires just couldn't quite do it. And like you said, a lot of guys taking the wave here are wanting a yellow. They're probably going to be the yellow.
Yeah. Old tires that have cooled. On the restart, you might spin your tires.
I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody do something to get a caution that they need right here in the back. Somebody will hit somebody in the back.
Yeah.
And get the caution they need.
Wow, yeah. You saw it. And interesting to me that iRacing doesn't use that yellow line. I think Cameron beat Scott to the yellow line, but coming off pit road, it was Scott ahead of Cameron. Here we go. Scott goes really, really early. It's going to bring Christopher through to second, but Scott Crump with a huge advantage. 22 laps to go. Oh, Christopher got there in turn 1. Gavel trying to wreck off of 2. They saved it. Mike Christopher trying to take the lead from Scott Crump late in this race. 82 car has been all over the place tonight.
Here we go. Nick Massey trying to move around Cameron Rich before the yellow comes out with Cameron on his 2 tires.
Here comes Christopher to the inside of Crump. Crump's shown a propensity to be able to defend that outside lane. Massey to 4th. Massey down to the bottom of the racetrack. But not able to do anything down there. Outside line prevails. Blanchard holds off Massey for 3rd. Cameron's two-tire call is not paying off. He's fallen all the way back to 7th. And yeah, and now Eisenman's going to get to the outside of Nick Massey. Massey's trying that bottom lane, but it just does not work for passing. And all this is happening behind Scott Crump, who took that first pit stall and has taken advantage of it. Eisenman peeked to the outside of Ryan Blanchard, thought that 77 was going to give it a go. 3 wide down the front straightaway, did not pan out.
Yeah, this was worst case scenario for Nick. He took control of this race. The pit crew gave it up on pit road.
Mm-hmm. Really, what hurt
He'll be
Massey?
lucky to stay in the top 5.
What really hurt Massey was getting Cameron in front of him. Cameron with the 2 tires, who's fallen back way quicker than the rest of these guys. They're coming up on lap traffic already.
Well, those guys stayed out, remember?
Yeah.
So they were really slow.
If Massey was able to restart 4th there, he'd be in 2nd. Just starting 3rd on the bottom, 2nd on the bottom and 3rd. It was such a big disadvantage compared to starting up top. Yeah. So
yeah, it's just so hard to count cars. That's what you would have to do is be counting cars and be ready for that. And
it's tough. Barbieri, old tires, the oldest in the field for sure. He's going to go a lap down here. Did not get the caution, the wave rounds needed. Scott Crump is losing that advantage quickly to Christopher as he tries to pick his way through these lappers. And there's a lot of treachery right here. Crump could very easily bounce off of one of these guys with this big tire disadvantage. They're side by side in front of him here, Bayuk and Thomas. Nowhere for Crump to go. He's going to spin. Bayuk can get spun. Oh, man.
Wow.
And that's maybe the one instance all night where cutting a guy a break was going to result in the same thing. Did he just get clobbered by Vincent? Oh, man.
Let's pull up the replay here,
Oh, he
boys.
clobbered into Goody and then got clobbered by Vincent. My goodness. If he backs off right there for Bayuk, Christopher spins him out 100%. It's just tough, man. They caught him at the wrong time. And then,
that's just what happens when guys stay out like that and they don't catch a caution. Mm-hmm. Now, those of them that did catch the caution there,
yeah, they'll be able to take advantage of it.
I think it will give Bayuk, and Bayuk was wrecked.
Right. Yeah, it's tough for Bayuk too. He's trying to hold the lane on those super old tires and just let Crump find a way around him. But everything developed so fast, and one of his lanes was cut off by the 0-3 car to go to. So, Crump had basically the bottom to go to, and that would have taken him 3 wide. And it's just, I'm sure he'll look back on this one and find a different way to do that in hindsight, but a very tough, very quick incident there for Scott Crump.
That's just a lot of fast guys catching a lot of slow guys throwing a Hail Mary, and they're racing for the win. And it just...
Now, you'll note, Nick Massey now gets 4th on this restart.
It will be interesting what happens.
We get Mike Christopher, the race leader, Ryan Blanchard 2nd. Both of them, I believe, going for their first ERSCA wins. Drew Eisenman 3rd. He's definitely going for his first ERSCA win. And then Nick Massey in 4th, who is not going for his first win, but is, out here trying to pick up points and go for the championship. Ryan Gavel's 5th. Joe Francis will be 6th, and he'll have that advantage on the outside lane. Then it's Seth Rawls 7th. Cameron Rich back in 8th with 2 tires. I don't believe he went down pit road. Nick Indelicato 9th. Gerald Campbell 10th. Delicato's done a pretty typical Nick Indelicato job of finding a top 10 run out of a car that badly damaged.
Well, I feel like my pick does not have a shot.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah, yours is out.
Very out.
So Rattlesnake, who is no longer with us,
he has the best chance.
And I'm not sure Nick knows the deal that I made. If he wins this thing, he's got to run some Chairgate logos on that car the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think if anybody's got anything to say about that one, it would be the current sponsor of the car. But we'll see. At least maybe they can throw the logo on the quarter panel, right?
Oh, I think there's plenty of room to put. You know, we can find some room to put the
Find
Chairgate
some
logo
room.
on there.
Oh yeah.
Maybe for one race, put Rattlesnake, like a headshot of Rattlesnake right on the hood of the thing.
I think that could be done. As Ryan Blanchard times it up with Mike Christopher, they go at the same time. That does give an advantage to Drew Eisenman, who will clear for Massey for third and get to the top. So Eisenman able to hold Massey off there. See if anything happens between these two race leaders. 5 laps to go. As he could not clear Drew Eisenman. Oh man. And the yellow's out. Massey was third at the time of caution.
I believe fourth. Fourth.
Oh, he was fourth?
Lined up fourth.
Let's see what happens where they line him up. Dylan Thomas is spun out. The adventures of the 03 this evening continue. Looking, all by himself. We might need an onboard with Johnny Thomas on that one. Just barely misses the spinning 0-3. It's like the everything's ramping up now. The pressure's really, there for some of these guys. And I think Johnny was on older tires. Beers looks like he's got newer tires. Dylan had newer tires, and you can't see it. Oh, Johnny does get a little contact with the wall. He drives through it.
And that's going to get us into green-white checkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with just 2 laps, I think that makes it difficult for Ryan Blanchard, Drew Eisenman, Nick Massey, for those guys to do anything with Christopher. It looks like,
You'd have to be willing to wreck him.
Yeah. We're not certain that Blanchard won't, but
I wouldn't rule that out. We've seen it a few times tonight.
Right.
I feel 100% confident saying Nick Massey's not going to wreck anybody.
Yeah, Eisenman too. They after all the discussion from him in the booth, I think Eisenman's probably not the guy to throw a bumper.
Shout out to Drew either way though, guys. Up 22 positions. Obviously a lot of adversity in this race, but Drew's done a great job keeping it clean and working his way through.
2 cleanest cars in the field are sitting 3rd and 4th right now. And one sitting in 7th. Cameron Rich hasn't put a wheel wrong all night. He just hasn't had the luck, I think, with the pit strategy. And it is.
And that's not all luck.
Costly.
He shouldn't have stayed out the one time, and he put himself in a spot where he had to take 2. It just kind of piled on.
Right. It's a tough break for a guy who's won 2 of our races this season. It's definitely a championship threat. A lot of damage right behind him. And hey, look at that. Scott Crump on the board right there. You're showing in 9th. He's 10th on the restart. He's still got a chance to bring home a solid finish in the 8 car, which is something he has not had the last 2 weeks.
Here we go. It's going to be a green-white checkered.
Blanchard jumped it. I think that's going to be a black flag.
Yeah, and they're wrecking behind him. That's a jump and a half right there.
I think so. That's what I would believe.
Yeah. I think the 09 should get an EOL for that right there.
Right, I would think so as well. Depends on what Johnny Eckert wants to do here.
He obviously took off way. Yeah, I feel like, and that's what caused the wreck as well.
Right, the checkup does stack the field up behind.
Yeah, so I believe that's got to be called. I think he's got to get EOL there. Ryan Blanchard has got to get sent there.
We'll see. He's currently sitting ahead of Christopher, which I think the iRacing gave Blanchard the lead. But what I wonder is the restart penalty, right? I believe that's a pass-through under green. And so he won't have a chance to do that. So I'm wondering whether they'll just EOL him or if there's even a penalty.
I feel like there should be. You can't let that thing happen there.
He did back off it and try to give the spot back.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's what caused the wreck. So I feel like you got to call that. You can't. I mean, he clearly jumped it. There's no did he jump it? He might have jumped it. He clearly jumped it.
Looks like they're saying that Christopher missed a shift. Can't tell.
Yeah, there's no debating that a jump happened here.
Yeah. Just a matter of whether there's
There needs to be a penalty because it caused the wreck as well.
We'll see. Looks like Blanchard is going to line up second, I believe, once again on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that there's no penalty for that.
All right, 2 laps to go. First of our probably 2 green-white checkers.
Well, no, that used an attempt. This is it. Next flag will end the race.
Oh, well, there you go. Next flag ends the race. At long last. Mike Christopher with a chance to win his first ERSCA race. Ryan Blanchard with the same. Drew Eisenman and Nick Massey row 2. Green flag back out. He almost did. He's going to cut up in front of Eisenman, and Eisenman cut him a break. Oh boy, Drew being a little too nice there. That was some kind of move, and it's all but over for Mike Christopher.
Well, now I ask, are you allowed to change lanes before you get to the line? Because he clearly changed lanes to get on the 77.
Either way, you're going to wreck down the front straightaway here, but I don't think it's going to matter. Gerald's up to 5th. Can he get Massey for 4th here? I think your top 3 is going to be Mike Christopher winning at Bristol, Blanchard 2nd, Eisenman 3rd, Massey will get 4th. Penalties TBD. We don't know what's going on now, but Eisenman not real happy with Blanchard after that move on the start, but
yeah, I question whether you're allowed to change lanes. I feel like maybe there was 2 instances where that 09 probably should have gotten.
Mm-hmm. Get the finishing results here. Austin Beers drove it back to 7th. Got 4 fresh tires there late. He'll finish 7th. He'll likely extend his points lead over everyone but Massey and Rich for all things considered there, despite a pretty poor night. Ryan Gavel 8th, Crump 9th. Still a good run despite the wrecks, and Joe Francis finishes 10th in this one. Good run for Kyle Hanshaw. And Delicato comes home 13th. After wrecking Barbieri and Thomas on the last lap there, 16th and 17th respectively, last cars on the lead lap. Matthew Bayuk's worst finish of the season in 18th. The only one I have is Eisenman on Discord. We'll have to see if those guys join up for their interviews here, but my goodness, another ERSCA race.
It was a great run for Drew too. 25th to 3rd. Gerald Campbell getting up to 5th. You talked about him. He started 24th. Joe Francis ended up 10th. He lost some spots there at the end. Kyle Hanshaw finished 11th after starting 20th. There was some good runs there from some guys who didn't get to qualify like they wanted.
16 cautions at the end of it, which was plenty. I'll go ahead and grab Drew Eisenman. We'll see if we can get things completed. I'm not sure whether the rest of them will be, but let's grab Drew. Drew, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, David.
Yeah, we're not sure if you're going to end up P3 or P2 on this one based on a number of potential rule breaks, but beyond that, a really good night for you. Like that car looked pretty clean. Take us through your night, and then we'll let you go through that final restart.
Yeah, I mean, really surprised. I hate Bristol, and I haven't gone well with this car all year, and I don't know how I managed to get third. I mean, a really pleasant surprise, but it was a lot of fun to drive. Just exactly what you'd expect. My whole goal was to keep the car clean, be strategic with pit stops, prioritize track position, and yeah, it just interesting last restart and some tempers flaring, but it's pretty typical. But hey, I finished with 0 incidents, so I'll take it.
Wow. Yeah, and then do you? Yeah, I guess just take us through that last restart, and were you trying to? You could. I guess you were trying to keep the 0 incidents tally intact there. I think, as opposed to potentially spinning somebody out.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. I don't really care about that as much. I'm not going to win the incident race. I just, I'm not going to turn somebody like that. But I probably should have. That was in my opinion, I was pretty upset with that move. That almost just caused a huge wreck. Like if he would have done that to, I think any other driver in this field, they would have turned him. So I'm not sure what the 09 was thinking there. It was really uncalled for. Like he could have just raced me side by side. And I put myself in the wall trying not to run over him. But I got through it, got to third, probably should have gotten second, but pretty pleased with the end result. But yeah, I mean, like I brought up before with you guys, it's pretty a pretty typical display of just like a lot of these guys don't race people like they want to be raced, and that was kind of a pretty exemplary example of that.
What is your opinion of those last 2 restarts? We saw Ryan really jump the second to last one, and then he changed lanes on the last one. Do you think that calls for a black flag, or are you okay with how it shook out?
I mean, I'm not going to suggest anything to the race officials. They're going to look at it and do what they do. He definitely jumped that last one, and then I couldn't tell if the 83 went or not. So then I went, and then it was another one of those checkups. And then the last one was like, I can understand kind of timing the restart. Sometimes it looks like the leader goes, but it doesn't. Maybe it's like a stutter on your screen or whatever. The last one though, it's just reckless, man. You could have the whole field would have plowed into that had I turned him like I probably should have. But it's kind of up to their discretion. But I don't think it was a very I wouldn't want my kids to watch that and be like, that's how you race. I'll put it that way.
I think that can be said about a lot of the moves we saw tonight, Drew.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'm a good example of this race that you didn't need to drive through people to finish well. I mean, I didn't drive through anybody. I hit the wall a couple times, like going into the corners or coming out of the corners, but you don't have to drive through people to finish well. You don't. I'm not a great driver in this league, and I finished third at Bristol just by not running over people. It's kind of a crazy concept, but sometimes you do well when others don't, and I'll take it.
All right, Drew, before we send you off here, any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Johnny. I know this must be really challenging with races like tonight, and Kyle and Johnny Thomas and Tate for working hard to do their best to ensure some high quality driving standards. So shout out to them and the work they put into that nobody ever thanks them for. Y'all, it's always fun. Tomorrow during lunch, I'll throw the race on and watch it. It'll be a good time. And yeah, Belly Up Sports for sponsoring the series and all our sponsors that I can't remember right now. And then Eisen Designs on the scheme. Pretty cool to be the Eisentech driver that's actually interviewed this race. So I'll take it. But sucks for Cam. But 2 tires didn't work. But yeah, thanks guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Drew. Send him there, and then let's grab second place finisher Ryan Blanchard. Ryan, pretty chaotic night. Take us through your night. I know you had some incidents there where you were not the primary culprit, and then we'll get your thoughts on that final couple of restarts.
Oh, I'll tell you what, tonight was definitely hectic. I definitely, ran guys pretty tight all night. as you guys probably saw, there on lap 10, I ran the 48 right into the fence, which was my bad. And then there at the end, I just got a little free on the restart and squeezed the 77 up, but I didn't really feel like it was my fault. He just came up and showed his displeasure after the race. But yeah, pretty chaotic night, and can't thank Austin Beers, Ryan Barbieri, Mike Jr., and all the guys over at the Hacks Discord for leading me on tonight. And I'm pretty happy with the last two results here. It was obviously my debut last week, and then coming back and finishing second tonight. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Ryan, and then take us through the last couple of restarts there. Looked like you got a pretty good jump on the second to last one. I guess what happened there first of all, and then how'd you get through the second one?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really mean to get a good launch there in the second restart. I figured there was going to be a penalty as well, so I just wanted to kind of show my respect to Mike and the racing league and lift and give the spot back, and so that's just kind of that whole deal. But I just knew that it was going to be really hard to pass Mike. So if I had a really good restart, there was a chance I could pass him, but I don't think I was going to be able to pass him unless I roughed him up, and I know Mike, so I know he wouldn't do it to me, so I wouldn't do it to him.
Yeah, and I don't want you to watch this broadcast back and think I was quiet in here for you, or I wasn't going to say anything to you. You addressed the second to last restart, but you talked about the last restart there a little bit. But did you feel like that you waited until after the line to change lanes? We never really went and get back and gave it a second look, but it did look like you moved to the top lane there before the start-finish line.
Oh no, I definitely started to change lanes, but like I said, Austin and Barbieri told me not to change lanes, but it was definitely unintentional. I kind of spun the tires a little bit on the restart and chased it up the hill, and obviously I still changed lanes, so I really can't fight that. So it was definitely not intentional, and like I said, I squeezed the 77 up a little bit, but I still feel like I gave him a little bit of room, to drive on by me, but he lifted and kind of scraped the wall himself. But he, like I said, showed his displeasure after the race, and like I said, I don't like to race like that, and I just like to race hard and tight with other guys, and yeah.
Alrighty, Ryan. Well, before we end, I guess you kind of did give your shout outs, but any more you want to give before we send you off?
Yeah, like I said, just like to thank everyone at the Hex Discord, Legend Pro for the the badass setups. Obviously tonight was a standard setup, but they if you haven't checked out Legend Pro, they make really good Legend car setups and modified setups for the iRacing service. And yeah, everyone at CMB Bore Repair, Austin Beers, Ryan Barbieri, Mike Jr., Brian Arducci, Ryan Lutz, all those guys, they help me out a ton and dial me in each and every week.
All right, thanks, Ryan. We'll congrats on the P2 and hopefully your P1 next week.
All right, thank you.
Now we'll bring in race winner Mike Christopher, and Mike, congratulations on the win, and you definitely had an adventure tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't think we had the best car, but everyone started wrecking there, and Crump got into that lap car, and the seas parted. iRacing had something to do with the yellow flags. People would get their spots back, so I was lucky in that sense that I got the lead back, and it was kind of smooth sailing from there. I think restarts were on the top, just unbeatable, really. So, eventful night. Got wrecked a couple times, but it seems like everyone was wrecking. So if you just survived and had a decent car at the end, you'd be all right.
Yeah, take us through that last wreck there. How much damage did you think you had after kind of getting piled into the fence there with Crump?
I don't know. I thought the damage model was worse on these things, but I wrecked, I don't even know, before lap 10 on the front stretch, and it didn't hurt it at all. I think I got into something later in the run too, and I kind of just squared the guys up in that last wreck off turn 4, I think it was, whatever, with Crump. So I didn't think it was that bad, but so clearly it wasn't, because we still had enough power and could pull on the restarts, so it was fun.
Yeah, and you kind of were quiet all night. We didn't talk about you too much, and then right there at the end when it mattered, you got there on the top line with that restart with about 20 to go, and then, like you said, Crump kind of got into that lap car. You snuck through, well, got really lucky to sneak through there. So it's a quiet night for you. Congrats on the win. This is your first ERSCA win, correct?
Yeah, it is. I think we were pretty close with Beers a couple weeks ago at Nashville, and I felt like I was pretty strong at other races too. I decided not to run Chicagoland. I just don't like the mile and a half package with these things. I like when you can move around. In Bristol, you could definitely move around. You know, you save the right front a little bit more than the guy in front of you, and 20 laps later, you'll catch him and just pass him on the bottom. I feel like that's where I made most of my moves. Were just keeping the right front on it and then passing people, just ripping the apron. So having the ability to move around, and then when at the end there, when you have clean air, I guess you just rip the lip. You don't worry about the tire being getting worn out. So that's obvious. I think that's the fastest lane around there. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I like Bristol. So I don't even know where they go next. Can you guys clue me in on that or no?
Atlanta, old Atlanta, another mile and a half.
Oh man, absolutely. I'll be there next week. I had a lot of fun there in the official series. So yeah, definitely a track where you can rip the lip again off of turn 2. So looking forward to that. Maybe we'll make it 2 in a row.
Alrighty. Well, Mike, any shout outs here before we send you off tonight?
I got to thank Tom Modified Guy for making the awesome paint scheme that I run. And yeah, just I have a ton of fun every week with the guys in the Hacks Discord. Blanchard gave him a shout out in the last interview, but Lutz, Barbieri, Beers, Blanchard, Brian Arducci. There's a lot of people in there, so we have a lot of fun doing it until we wreck each other. Then it's just a swearing fest. So, and it's fun either way. So these Monday night races are a lot of fun. These guys put on a good show where, it's not very strict. It's just get out there and race, and they're understandable about certain instances. So yeah, these guys at ERSCA do a great job. So I'm happy to be a part of it and represent them.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win, Mike, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
So with that, I do believe the season with you guys closes. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun. I want to give a thanks to Johnny for having us over. Yourself, David, Robert for coming over with me. Robert hasn't had too much to do. He's been able to stay quiet during this stuff. And as far as tonight goes, I want to give a shout out to Belly Up Sports, everybody at ERSCA, Chairgating, Rattlesnake for coming on. If we're lucky enough to come back and do this again, I think we're going to try to get some more of these podcast guys from Belly Up to come out and talk about their podcast, and definitely have Rattlesnake back out. It's been a blast getting to work with all these guys once again. So I hate to see it end. I can't wait to watch the rest of it though on 3 Wide and see how this shakes out. And I guess I'll climb back aboard the pit box and Nick Massey and see if we can keep his momentum going.
All right. Well, Robert, any final thoughts here before we enter chase mode?
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you to Johnny Thomas and the crew over here at ERSCA for having Chris and I join you up here in the booth for a couple races this season. Hoping to do more next year. We'll see what the schedule holds, but it's definitely been a fun few races with you guys over here. And like I said, hope to be back. Maybe we'll do a few races behind the wheel to end the season. We'll see what happens there. But thanks to Belly Up and everyone that's supported us throughout, and good luck to Carlos, yourself, David, and Dom for the rest of the season.
Yep, we'll be the regular crew back next week, and looking forward to that. But we'll miss this group as well. It's been it's a delight to get all the races broadcasted, and thanks to you guys for coming on board. So with that, I'm David Westergreen. That was Chris Wright and Robert Hill for Belly Up Sports and ERSCA. We will see you guys next week.